Greetings. Welcome to the film school. I'm going to do another review here for you of the new superhero horror film, Brightburn. Yeah. Um, this is going to be a spoiler review because I really have nothing good to say for the most part. So it's just going to be criticisms. I'm just going to go right off the bat here. Essentially, this film is a sort of take on the Superman mythology of the kid who falls from the stars, who's raised by the young couple in Kansas called the town of Brightburn, which is a really ridiculous name to me. It sounds too much like Breitbart. I don't like it. But I digress.
Yeah, you do.
Quiet you. Anyways, it essentially, first half of this movie is a sort of parallel to the Superman mythology, based around the concept of what if Superman became evil. And it's not endorsed by DC. This is not a DC film. It is produced by James Gunn, the Guardians of the Galaxy films, and Slither, which is a really good movie. And it's written by one of his brothers and a cousin. And so that's probably why this thing got made. Because it's not how do I describe this? It's a horror film. It's a horror film that loosely takes an idea about Superman and kind of tricks you into thinking it's this deconstruction of the Superman mythology. And by the way, if anybody describes it as a deconstruction of the Superman mythology, just don't listen to them. Just ignore that because that's just the dumbest thing ever. It's not a deconstruction. They just essentially took that idea and just made a very run-of-the-mill, predictable horror film, and that kind of ends as could be an alien invasion movie setting up unnecessary sequels for a franchise that we don't really need. I'm sorry, this movie I just did not enjoy this film. There was very little for me to enjoy. It was an interesting premise that I've actually, seen interpreted other ways by DC Comics to a better extent, because the one fatal thing that they did that kind of dropped the ball for me, that took it out of the whole parallel to the Superman mythology into a darker realm, was the fact that this kid basically has no choice. Wherever he's from, he's evil. His spaceship tells him to take the world. And so there's that. By the way, did I mention spoilers? I think I did. But just in case, too late. Little too late, but it'll say it on there. It'll say spoilers. The fact is, they never actually explored the dynamic of why Superman became Superman in the opposite way. Superman doesn't just save people because he's just born good. It's because of his parents and his upbringing and the morals that they instill. And this, it kind of plays with that very loosely. The parents try and teach their kid, basic principles of don't kill and hurt people, but he's just evil. It starts off kind of interesting because you're like, oh yes, it's very much a parallel to Superman, and that's what we need right now, is a parallel to Superman where he's dark and evil, I guess. I don't know. It seems like a really bad pitch meeting to me, but what if Superman was born, what if he went evil? Okay, why? But nonetheless, the movie just halfway through just descends into a very cliche-ridden, very vapid and insipid cliche-ridden horror film. So I mean, I guess if you're a big Superman fan like I am, you'll probably see it because I had to see the context of what they were doing here. If you like sci-fi horror, you may enjoy it. Personally, I think the only things that I enjoyed was some of the cinematography was good. Elizabeth Banks is good. She really is talented, and I kind of feel like she was wasted in this film. Maybe she just needed to renovate her summer home. I don't, in Malibu or whatever. But an actor's got to work, so you can't really blame them. But no. I did not enjoy this movie. I'd give it about 1.5 stars. So this is going to be a short review because there's really not a whole lot to discuss that is really worth talking about, in my opinion. This is a film that is worth bypassing altogether. Maybe see it when it's on Netflix. I say wait until it's on Crackle, and that way you don't have to pay for it. But Yeah, by far the worst film I've seen this year. It was an emotionally vapid film. It just, I didn't care about any of the characters. The situation is predictable right from the beginning because you know it's not Superman, but it's obviously going to go down this dark path. But it just lacked any kind of complexity and just went straight for horror slasher stalker film cliches. And it's I don't think it did anything new for the medium, so I would just say bypass it altogether. In fact, I would recommend watching Justice League Crisis on Earth 2 with Ultraman, not to be confused with the Japanese character Ultraman, but the Earth 2 equivalent of Superman, who is essentially a super fascist. Or, read Superman, Red Sun, or watch the motion comic, where Superman is raised behind the Iron Curtain because he fell in the USSR instead of Kansas City, USA. So
back in the USSR.
it's
That's a fantastic movie too, actually.
It's basically a better idea, or even just watch the latest DC CW crossovers with Arrow, The Flash, and Legends or Supergirl from last season, the Elseworlds, where you get a fascist Superman, or read Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, where he's a tool for the government. Those are much more interesting takes. So my advice: bypass this altogether. Stick with better fodder. Your Avengers Endgame, your Captain Marvel, your Shazam, your upcoming Dark Phoenix, and your upcoming Spider-Man, Far From Home. Those are going to be a lot better. Trust me. I don't think this is worth your time. So, anyways, thanks for listening to me rant. My incredible dislike for this movie, for some reason, boy, it just rubbed me the wrong way, and I just don't like it. And I'm sure it'll get a franchise out of it, and they'll just be progressively worse, like the Starship Troopers movies. But anyways, thanks for joining. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you think I'm dumb for not liking it, I don't care. It's not good. So anyways, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
You guys can let me be on the It Chapter 2 review or what?
Totally
Oh, yeah.
psychedelic Led Zeppelin, bro.
Boy, that movie was a piece of shit.